live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
A very good evening and welcome to the news here on the most prestigious news channel of Sri Lanka. Bringing you the news, I'm Kenza Farooq.
And I'm Chaga Gamage. First, let's take a look at the headlines for today. Opposition evaluation of the 2026 budget. Government servants and plantation labour praised the government over the benefits provided through the budget. Minister's solutions to many professional disputes of nurses' colleges and their principals. 5 persons arrested in connection with the Kotahena shooting incident, while 3 vehicles belonging to Sampath Manaperi taken into police custody. 100 children selected for the final round of the Eco Canvas All Ceylon Schools drawing competition. Summons issued against Israeli Prime Minister from Turkey. Well, now we move on to those and other stories in detail. Members of the opposition say the present government has successfully stabilized the economy of the country.
Now, they have made these remarks commencing the parliamentary debate on the 2026 appropriation draft bill in Parliament today. Parliamentarian Dr. Harsha De Silva said that he hopes to present a positive evaluation on the budget presented by the President. He said they have acknowledged the fact that the President government has consolidated macroeconomic concept. He has also praised the anti-corruption program of the government and expressed hope that law will be implemented in an equally and a just manner against all those who had misappropriated the finances of the people. He added that, however, there was no mention in yesterday's speech regarding the system change that people had been anticipating.
ක්‍රියාත්මක විය යුතු බව සියලු දෙනා බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. මහ ජනතාව දැඩි කැපකිරීමක් කරා. ඒක ඇත්ත. ඒක නිසා තමයි අපිට අද මේ ස්ථාවරභාවය ලබා ගන්න හැකි වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. ජනාධිපතිතුමා කිව්වා සිස්ටම් චේන්ජ් එක තමයි මේ කියලා. කිසිම සිස්ටම් චේන්ජ් එකක් ඊයේ අයවැයෙන් ඉදිරිපත් කරේ නැහැ. අපේ ආණ්ඩුවේ දෙවන අයවැය කියලා කියන්නේ.
Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayakesar said that the country is going forward in the correct direction as pointed out by the economic guide of the SJB, Dr. Harsha De Silva. A preliminary salary increase which could be felt by the public servants has been provided. The Aswasuma allowance has been increased. If a person with disabilities is engaged in a private employment, the government will provide incentives for such persons. Accordingly, 50% of their salaries will be paid within a period of 2 years, subjected to a maximum of 15,000 rupees. School children will be provided 6,000 rupees each. 1.6 million students will be benefited. Disabled and school and university students will be given a monthly allowance of 5,000 rupees each. The Mahapula scholarship has been increased by 10,000 rupees. Student aid has been increased to 9,000 rupees. These are the criteria which have established the fact that the country's economy has been stabilized.
දුන්නනේ ඒ වොයිස් කට් එක ආපු කමෙන්ට්ස් බැලුවාම ඔබතුමායි කියනවා ඒ කමෙන්ට්ස් වල තනි කර තිබුණේ මේ අයවැය විවේචනය කිරීම ගැන එතුමාට බැනලා එතුමා විවේචනය කරලා නේද එතුමාගේ ওই වචන මම කියන්නේ මම දැක්කයි විපක්ෂ නායකතුමාත් එළියට ගිහිල්ලා වොයිස් කට් එකක් දෙනවා ජනතාවට සහන් නොදීපු අයවැයක් අරව මේවා කියාගෙන මං හිතුවේ නිදාගෙන හිටිය අර්ජුනා මන්ත්‍රීතුමා විතරයි කියලා බලනවා විපක්ෂ නායකතුමා නිදාගෙන ඉඳලා තියෙනවා රාජ්‍ය සේවකයන්ට අපි දැනෙන මූලික වටුපැඩීමක් ලබා දුන්නා දෙවනි කොටස දැන් මේ ජනවාරි මාසේ ලබා දෙනවා රාජ්‍ය සේවක උද්ඝෝෂණය කරේ නැහැ මූලික වැඩි කරන්න කියලා අපි අස්සසුන් වැඩි කළා දුන්නා. ආබාධ සහිත කෙනෙක් පෞද්ගලික රැකියාවක් කරනවා නම් ඒක දිරිගැන්වීමක් හැටියට අපි රජය බාර ගන්නවා එයාගේ වැටුපෙන් 50% අවුරුදු දෙකක් තිස්සේ ගෙවන්න රුපියල් 15000 උපරිමයෙන් නඩත්තු. මේවා කවදාවත් කරපු වැඩ නෙමෙයි. පාසල් දරුවන්ට රුපියල් 6000 ගන්න දෙනවා. දරුවෝ ලක්ෂ 16කට ඒ ප්‍රතිපාදනය හිමි වෙනවා. ආබාධ සහිත විශ්වවිද්‍යාල පාසල් දරුවන්ට මාසෙක රුපියල් 5000 ගන්න ලබා දෙනවා. මහා පොළ රුපියල් 10000 කරා. මතක තියාගන්න අපේ ආණ්ඩුවේ රුපියල් 5000 තිබ්බ දෙගුණයක් කරා. ශිෂ්‍යාදාර රුපියල් 9000ක් කරලා තියෙනවා. මේවා තමයි අපි ස්ථාවරත්වයේ හැදුවා කියන්න පෙන්වන්න පුළුවන් නිර්ණායක. මේ අයවැය කාරණා දෙකකට අපි විශේෂයෙන්
Government parliamentarians said that they expressed their commendations on 2 facts in the budget. One of them is that it brings foreign direct investments to the country. It also exemplifies the need on Investment Protection Act. Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya said that the country needs a state service which acts according to a plan. She further said they have witnessed a progress in comparison to January 2025 and expressed optimism that a more progress could be achieved in the year 2026. Government parliamentarians said that a preliminary sum of 200 million rupees has been allocated for the commencement of preliminary work on the construction of a national heart unit in a building comprising of 16 stories. He added that this facility would cost 12,000 million rupees and will be fully fledged with the latest equipment. The MP further said 40% of the deaths are related to heart diseases, and the present heart disease division is inadequate to handle such a large number of patients.
எனக்கு தெரியும் 1750 ரூபாய் அடிப்படை சாத்தியம் கிடையாது. என்னோட ஆதரவு கட்டாயம் உங்களுக்கு இருக்கு, நான் இல்லன்னு சொல்ல. நான் இப்ப நீங்க கேள்வி கேட்டனால வீராப்பா பேசலாம். நான் கேட்ட கேள்விக்கு பதில மட்டும் சொல்லுங்க. Honorable Samarasinghe, I am speaking to her. Let me finish. Sit down.
හාම්පොත්තු ගෙනල්ලා එකක කරගත්තා.
Minister Vasantha Samarasinghe said that employees were convinced over the payment of the increased basic salary of 200 rupees.
ඒක ඔබතුමා බාර ගන්න ඕනේ. දින 14කට රුපියල් 200 ගානේ දෙනවා. එතකොට ඒක තමයි හම්බ වෙන්නේ.
Another government MP said that for the first time in the history, the government in the budget speech has proclaimed the highest salary for plantation workers. According to the government, is prepared to pay a sum of 1,750 rupees for the estate labour. Deputy Minister Sunil Watagala said that they have consolidated the supremacy of the law. Deputy Minister Sunil Watagala said that they have consolidated the supremacy of the law. They have set the example that they would not intervene even if one of their own members had committed an offence.
Well, the key strategic objective of the 2026 budget is to achieve sustained growth rate exceeding 7% within the next few years, ensuring that the benefits of such growth are shared equitably across all regions, communities and social groups of the country. For this initiative, a participatory economy increasing productivity, promoting innovation and private sector-led investment and growth will be the main driving forces of the country. Sri Lanka will continue to attract foreign investment through a transparent and rules-based mechanism. With the aim of further enhancing the country's export growth, efforts are being made to diversify exports, improve export competitiveness, connect with global value chains and capture new export markets in accordance with the National Export Development Plan 2025 to 2029. The International Monetary Fund had declared in 2022 that Sri Lanka's debt level was unsustainable. The main reasons for this declaration were irresponsible borrowing for non-priority projects, failure to generate necessary assets from the loans obtained, failure to complete the relevant projects on time, and failure to manage debt within a formal and systematic policy framework. Maintaining the gross financial requirement at a level below 13% of GDP in the medium term and annual central government foreign currency debt servicing at a level not exceeding 4.5% of GDP is a strategy to ensure debt sustainability. The public debt target as a percent of GDP of 95% by 2032 is gradually reaching. Given the remarkable performance achieved in the public finances and in debt management strategy, it is expected that there is a high level of potential to maintain public debt as a percentage of GDP below 90% by 2032. Certain groups are spreading an unfounded opinion that an inability to pay foreign debt may arise in 2028. But this is not the real situation. Sri Lanka made the payment of $1,674 million for foreign debt servicing in 2024. Foreign debt service in 2025 amounted to $2,435 million, of which $1,948 million had been paid by September 30th. Another $487 million is set to be paid by December 31st of this year. Accordingly, foreign debt service in 2025 is an increase of $768 million compared to 2024. The foreign debt service in 2028 is only $3,259 million. That is an increase of only $824 million compared to 2025. Sri Lanka has the capacity to pay the amount. The government's revenue targets for 2026 to 2027 should be maintained above 15.3% and 15.4% of GDP respectively, and the fiscal strategy should be announced within the stipulated time frame. As an economy heavily dependent on imports, Sri Lanka remains vulnerable to global shocks. Therefore, it is hoped to build a production economy where necessary technology and market access is obtained to the small and medium-sized enterprises to manufacture the goods locally that are currently imported. To eradicate rural poverty, the smallest unit, the village, must be transformed into a prosperous village. The benefits of the growth of the economy at the national level must be brought to the village level, as rural people will also receive such benefit. Modern and sustainable development program that leaves no one behind is being implemented at the national level for this purpose. It is implemented under a development framework based on sustainable development goals and targets, including increasing economic opportunities, developing infrastructure, promoting a productive economy, planned urbanization, and improving education and health facilities. It must also be noted that the government's policy of achieving thriving nation, a beautiful life, has been formulated to achieve this goal. Sri Lanka has identified digitalization as an important strategic approach to enhance economic growth and social life. As a result, it has been found out that the digital economy in the country has the potential to grow to $15 billion. Also, this digital transformation would make a significant contribution to transparent and efficient governance and service delivery. Therefore, Sri Lanka is in the process of providing the necessary financial support and create the legal and international environment to build a strong digital infrastructure. Meanwhile, several economic experts have expressed their opinions regarding the 2026 appropriation draft bill presented to Parliament yesterday.
2026 budget has clearly indicated that the economy is going towards export-oriented and inclusive development-driven economic aspect. So we have seen that the economic growth is ensured from different kind of incentive activities, SME sector development, and provide a lot of support for SME sector development that actually encourage for more inclusive and sustainable development. But what we have seen that there are three institutions that will be established under the new budget. One is trade, national single window, focus on the foreign direct investment trade. So that would be very useful for Sri Lankan economy, as we have seen that most of the investments are delayed, and because of the lot of bureaucratic barriers and regulations. So this kind of institutions is very important for Sri Lankan export development. Second one is virtual special economic zones that is also developed to promote Sri Lankan export, and that can provide very important contributions and it can prevent unnecessary regulation procedures and time consuming. The last one is very important for the higher education, that is commercialization of research, Institute of Commercialization of Research, that actually provide very valuable insight for academic and researchers to think about how we can create our research project for commercial output. We have to think about all the research input and insight must be incorporated for the business development and the country's development through this kind of institution.
When you look at the budget proposal, it covers almost every area: agriculture, industry, services, infrastructural facilities, exports, imports, providing necessary facilities to poor people, education, health. Almost everything is covered by the budget. It is a good document covering every aspect of the economy. It focuses on inflation, employment, raising of public sector salary, and also pension, recruiting to public sector. When you look at the investment proposal of the budget, you would find many areas including agriculture, road development, urban development, and education, health. So many areas are there. When you look at all those areas, you can say budget is acceptable to the Sri Lankan society.
So this time the 80th budget can be considered as one of the very important. We start to talk about something called a liberal budget. So just by looking at the 80th budget in Sri Lanka for 2026, where the infrastructure development, the macroeconomic indicators, there are certain aspects we need to address. The governance structure along with the human capital we can see some positives just align with this liberal format with the government. But anyway, in order to have a particular liberalized budget, there are certain things to be understand, because whatever the countries we study, so in order to have a budget where we need to have KPIs. Now one of the good example, just by looking at the India, the budget, whatever the budget we are going to introduce, after that they measure the performance of the budget. So they have a real time budgetary performance being measured. And also I just want to suggest to have a national budget performance and evaluation office for Sri Lanka, aligned with some best practices in other countries, because whatever the things said and done for last 79 years, the budgets, there are certain problems of the implementation. Only 30 to 40% of the budget proposals been implemented. But overall, I would like to say this time budget address certain aspects, but we need to make sure it has been injected for the general public. That is one of the very important things.
Meanwhile, the plantation labour have expressed their gratitude to the government headed by President for the measures taken to increase their daily wage to 1,750 rupees. They point out that none of the previous government had focused such attentions towards them. The government's stance is that the plantation labourers should be accorded a reasonable daily wage according to their performances. The minimum wage currently provided is 1,350 rupees. It will be increased to 1,550 rupees, and in addition of a sum of 200 rupees will be provided as an attendance incentive payment. Accordingly, the total daily wage will come up to 1,750 rupees.
Meanwhile, the public servants have expressed their commendations over the relief provided to them through the 2026 budget. They further point out that a budget with extremely productive proposals has been presented on behalf of all citizens. Allocations amounting to 110 billion rupees has been made to implement the second stage of the program to increase salaries in the state sector. The President, presenting the budget yesterday, said that these salaries will be paid to all government sector employees with effect from January of next year. The property loan scheme introduced for government employees is expected to be activated in a manner for the public servants to obtain loans up to 5 million rupees under a new structural process. Under the first stage, the first 3 million rupees could be obtained at a concessionary interest rate of 4%. And the remaining 2 million rupees from 3 to 5 million rupees could be received at the concessionary interest rate of 2%. The budget has proposed the reserve 500 million rupees for this purpose. The festival advance given to the government servants amounting to 10,000 rupees free of interest has been proposed to be increased up to 15,000 rupees. The remote allowance given to teachers and the allowance for principals will be increased by 1,500 rupees. The total allocation in this regard is 1,000 million rupees. It has been reported that there exist nearly 9,800 employees engaged in services, receiving a minimum salary as a result of still not yet making their jobs permanent. These workers had been recruited by the previous government on temporary, casual, substitute contract and relief basis. These employees were deprived of the opportunities of receiving permanent appointments, despite the fact that some groups were placed on permanent positions. The President has proposed on budget yesterday that all employees who are engaged in services in numerous institutions for more than 6 months and qualified under the Public Administration Circulars 25/2014 and 29/2019 are eligible to receive permanent appointments.
Now moving on to more local news, 3 vehicles alleged to have been used by Sampath Manamperi, who remain in police custody under detention orders, have been apprehended by the police today. The value of these vehicles is reported to be over 40 million rupees. Upon inspection of the house of Sampath Manamperi in Meddeniya by the officials of the Western Province North Crime Investigation Division yesterday, a bus, a motor car and a cab were found. Manamperi was arrested and remanded in connection with the recovery of a massive stock of chemicals needed for the manufacturing of the ice narcotic in Meddeniya. Permission has been granted by the judiciary to the Colombo North Crime Investigation Division to detain and interrogate. Officials of the Southern Province Unit of the Police Special Task Force have detected consignment of 5 kilos of heroin narcotic and cash amounting to 10 million rupees in a raid conducted in Sinigama and Ahangama areas. The detection was carried out of a tip-off received by the Army Intelligence Division. In narcotic prevention operations conducted by the police, nearly 31,500 persons were inspected yesterday. In these operations, 16 suspects directly connected to criminal activities have been identified. Special operations are underway covering police stations on the regional level to apprehend suspects connected to crimes. 740 suspects have already been arrested in this connection. 322 persons for whom warrants have been issued were arrested. Out of this number, 200 persons have been arrested who were under open warrants.
5 suspects have already been taken into custody in connection with the shooting incident that had taken place in Kotahena yesterday. The police further says that it has been established that the victim was a member connected to a criminal gang. A shooting that has occurred in 16th Lane, Kotahena last night has killed a person. The police say he was a 43-year-old resident of Kotahena. Investigations have revealed that suspects came in a motor car and shot at the victim. A pistol and 2 vehicles used in the killing were also taken into police custody.
In your weather news for tonight, the Meteorology Department forecasts further heavy rains in many parts of the island. Rainfall exceeding 75 millimeters is expected in certain locations in the Uva, Southern, Sabaragamuwa and Central provinces. Showers or thunder showers may occur intermittently in the sea areas surrounding the island. Wind speed in the sea areas from Colombo to Hambantota via Galle could increase up to 40 kilometers per hour at times. Fairly strong temporary winds may also occur along with thunder showers in the seas beyond the coast. As a result, sea would turn rough temporarily. Heavy rainfall is reported to be lashing in several areas in the Anuradhapura district. Water level in the Rajangane Reservoir has gone up and measures have been taken to pen for sluice gates.
Meanwhile, a special discussion was held recently to resolve disputes in nurses' colleges and also to look into professional vacancies encountered by principals of nurses' schools. The meeting was presided over by Minister of Health and Mass Media Dr. Nalinda Jatissa and attended by a large group of members of Forum of Principal of Nurses' College. The event was held at the Ministry of Health and Mass Media. Principals representing 17 nurse schools took part. The meeting has focused attention on the shortage of staff in nurses' schools, opportunities for higher education for principals and staff of such schools, increasing of allowance of nurses' schools principals, placing them in an appropriate salary scale, and revision of examination inspection charges. The minister also said that stalled procedure of recruitment of nursing staff will be expedited. The instructions have been given to officials to conduct relevant examinations within the next 2 months for those who have presented applications. The minister also said higher education opportunities will be provided for principals and staff of nurses' colleges, centering on countries such as India and Thailand next year. Attention has also been focused on increasing of examination inspection charges and also on the provision of a suitable allowance through the approval of the Ministry of Public Administration. It has also been decided to increase the 1,500 rupee allowance provided for principals of nurse colleges to recruit house matrons for nurse colleges with effect from January of next year. Measures are also underway to recruit to minor staff as well. Minister Dr. Nalinda Jatissa further said financial allocations will be provided for the reconstruction of nurses' colleges. Secretary to the Ministry of Health and Mass Media, Dr. Anil Jasinghe, has also attended the event.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka has decided to revise the ratios in the provision of leasing facilities for motor vehicles. Accordingly, the amendments are to be made providing a maximum 70% for commercial vehicles and 50% for private vehicles. According to these revisions, provision of loans by a bank or a financial company in process of purchasing of a vehicle on lease, such leasing could be subjected to 70% of the value of the commercial category and 50% for private vehicle. The remainder will have to be provided by the purchaser as a preliminary payment. According to the latest revisions, the number of vehicles being considered under the leasing facilities has been reduced to 2 from 4. Earlier, these facilities were provided for motor cars, vans and three-wheelers. However, according to the latest revisions, there are 2 categories, the commercial vehicles and the remaining all other vehicles.
Well, in the meantime, finals of the Eco Canvas 2025 All Ceylon Schools Drawing Competition was held at the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation premises today. 100 selected candidates have gained eligibility to enter the final rounds. The finals competition will select 4 winners under 4 categories. Theme of the competition is a greener tomorrow which protects purity. The contest was conducted under the supervision of veterans of the field of arts in the country. Pradeep Nilangadala, who was elected for the 3rd time as the Devadinilave of the Sri Dalada Maligava, says all programs centering on the temple of the sacred tooth relic for the past 20 years would be further enhanced and implemented in the next 10 years as well. He has made these remarks after his re-election as the custodian of the Sri Dalada Maligava in a vote conducted in Kandy yesterday. Pradeep Nilangadala, assuming duties, has called a Mahanayaka Theras of the Malvathu and Askari chapters today. First, he has met the Mahanayaka Thera of the Malvatha chapter, Most Venerable Tibbatuave Sri Sumangala Thera, and received blessings. Thereafter, the Devadinilame has visited the Askari Mahaviharya and received the blessings of the Mahanayaka Thera of the Askariya chapter, Most Venerable Varkaguda Jnanaratana Thera.
Coming up is your foreign news.
Style kochi chicken fusion rasa prima kottumi pam tamai.
In your international news for tonight, Turkey says it has issued arrest warrants for genocide against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and other senior Israeli officials. Among 37 suspects listed are Israeli Defense Minister, National Security Minister and Army, according to a Friday statement from the Istanbul Prosecutor's Office, which did not publish a complete list. Turkey has accused the officials of genocide and crimes against humanity that Israel has perpetrated systematically in its war on Gaza since October 2023. The statement also refers to the Turkish-Palestinian Friendship Hospital, built by Turkey in the Gaza Strip and bombed by Israel in March. Israel strongly condemned the move by Turkey. The Palestinian group Hamas welcomed the announcement, calling it a commendable measure, confirming the sincere positions of the Turkish people and their leaders, who are committed to the values of justice, humanity and fraternity that bind them to our oppressed Palestinian people. In your sports news for tonight, the Sri Lankan cricket team participating in the cricket tournament against Pakistan has left the island this morning.
The tournament is scheduled to commence on the 11th of this month. The Sri Lankan cricket has announced the one-day and T20 teams and the captains of these teams. Accordingly, skipper of the one-day as well as the T20 teams is Charit Asalanka. The vice-captain is Dasun Shanaka. The Sri Lanka-Pakistan one-day cricket tournament is comprised of 3 matches and all of them will be played in Rawalpindi. A triangular T20 cricket tournament with the participation of Sri Lanka, Pakistan and Zimbabwe teams is scheduled to be conducted from the 19th to the 29th of this month. Well, that's all the news we have for today. Make sure to join us at the same time tomorrow. Have a pleasant evening and a great weekend. Good night.
Good night.